the holy Seraphim, guardians of God's throne. Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today, we journey into the heart of biblical cosmology to explore one of the most awe-inspiring celestial beings mentioned in the scriptures. These fiery guardians are described in a powerful vision by the prophet Isaiah, and their depiction offers profound insights into the nature of holiness and divine service. So, get comfortable as we delve into the mysteries of the Seraphim. Our primary source for understanding the Seraphim comes from a single, yet incredibly vivid, passage in the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verses 2 through 7. Let's set the scene. The prophet Isaiah is granted a vision of the heavenly throne room. He sees the Lord sitting on a throne, high and exalted, and the train of his robe fills the temple. It's a moment of pure, unadulterated divine majesty. And it's here, in this sacred space, that Isaiah first encounters the Seraphim. The scripture says, "Above him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying." Let's break down this powerful imagery. The name Seraphim itself is derived from the Hebrew word seraph, which means to burn or fiery. This immediately tells us that these are beings of intense light, energy, and purity. They are fiery, not in a destructive sense, but in a way that signifies their passionate zeal and their role as pure. They exist in the immediate, unfiltered presence of God, a presence so intense that it is described as a consuming fire. Now, let's consider their 6 wings. This is not just a random detail. Every aspect of their description is steeped in theological meaning. The seraphim use their wings in 3 distinct ways. First, with 2 wings, they covered their faces. Why would they do this? It's an act of profound humility and reverence. Even these perfect, holy beings cannot bear to look directly upon the full glory of God. It's a beautiful illustration of the sheer, overwhelming magnitude of the divine. If the most exalted angels must shield their eyes, it puts into perspective the infinite gap between the Creator and the created. It teaches us that true worship begins with a sense of awe and a recognition of our own smallness before the immensity of God. Second, with 2, they covered their feet. In ancient Near Eastern culture, feet were often considered unclean, as they were in constant contact with the dusty, dirty ground. Covering their feet is another symbolic act of humility. It represents their acknowledgement that, despite their exalted position, they are still servants. They are not God. They are created beings in the service of God. This act shows a deep respect for the holiness of the ground. They stand on the very space where God's throne resides. It's a gesture that says, even in this holy place, we are conscious of our created nature and give all honor to the one on the throne. And third, with 2, they were flying. This signifies their readiness and swiftness to do God's will. They are not static statues. They are active, dynamic beings, constantly poised for service. Their flight represents their role as divine messengers and agents, ready to carry out God's commands throughout the cosmos in an instant. They are in perpetual motion, perpetually serving, perpetually worshiping. So we have these incredible fiery beings covering their faces and feet in humility, yet perpetually flying, ready for service. But what do? The scripture tells us they are engaged in an eternal chorus of praise. Isaiah 6:2-3 says, "And they were calling to one another, 'Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory.'" This is the trisayon, or the thrice holy. The repetition of holy 3 times is the highest possible form of emphasis in Hebrew. It's not just that God is holy, he is the absolute, ultimate, and perfect essence of holiness. The Seraphim's continuous cry declares the fundamental nature of God. Their entire existence is a testament to his holiness. And notice what they cry to one another. They aren't just singing into the void. They are affirming this truth to each other, creating a resonant, unending loop of worship that fills the heavens. This collective proclamation causes the very foundations of the temple to shake, and the entire space fills with smoke, another biblical symbol of God's powerful and mysterious presence. Now, let's bring it back to Isaiah. How does he react to all of this? He is utterly terrified. In verse 5, he cries out, "Woe to me! I am ruined. For I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty." In the face of this absolute holiness, Isaiah is immediately aware of his own sinfulness, his own unclean lips. He feels completely undone, unworthy to be in this sacred presence. This is a common reaction for mortals who encounter the divine in the Bible. The closer one gets to perfect holiness, the more one's own imperfections become glaringly obvious. But this is where the story takes a beautiful turn, and we see another crucial role of the seraphim. The narrative continues in verses 6 and 7. Then one of the seraphim flew to me with a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with tongs from the altar. With it he touched my mouth and said, "See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away and your sin atoned for." Here, a seraph acts as an agent of God's grace and purification. The altar in the heavenly temple is the source of atonement. The living coal taken from that altar is intensely hot and purifying. It represents a painful but cleansing process. When the seraph touches Isaiah's lips with this coal, it doesn't destroy him. It purifies him. This act is symbolic. The very thing Isaiah identified as his source of uncleanness, his lips, is what is touched and made clean. The seraph delivers God's forgiveness and prepares Isaiah for his prophetic mission. His sin is atoned for. His guilt is removed, and he is now fit to speak the words of God. The fiery being that represents God's unapproachable holiness also becomes the conduit for God's redeeming grace. So, what can we learn from the seraphim? Their story is not just a fascinating piece of celestial lore. It's a profound lesson in worship, humility, and grace. First, the seraphim teach us the true meaning of worship. It is a response of awe and reverence before the holiness of God. Like the seraphim covering their faces, our worship should come from a place of humility, recognizing the infinite greatness of our Creator. Second, they model for us a life of service. Just as they cover their feet and are always ready to fly, we are called to be ready to serve, to carry out the mission we've been given with zeal and readiness. True worship isn't just about singing songs. It's about a life lived in active service. And finally, the story of Isaiah's cleansing reminds us that no one is too unclean to be used by God. When we come face to face with our own shortcomings, just as Isaiah did, we shouldn't despair. Instead, we can trust that God provides a way for purification and forgiveness. The same holy fire that reveals our sin is the fire that can cleanse it, preparing us for our unique purpose. The seraphim, these magnificent fiery beings, stand at the pinnacle of creation, forever burning with love and adoration for their Creator. They show us that the proper response to God's holiness is a life of humble worship and ready service, confident in the grace that makes us clean. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the seraphim. It's a powerful and humbling image from Scripture, and there's always more to uncover. If you found this exploration meaningful, please show your support by giving this video a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss our next journey into the fascinating stories of the Bible. We appreciate every one of you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.